We just got the latest version of FSD for hardware 3 cars like this one, AI3, sorry to dead name. Got my Model Y here, just got 12.6, so we're going to take a little drive with the latest version of the software. Going to have a little bit of residential, a little bit of kind of medium speed road, and then a little highway, and then we'll get into Ann Arbor and see how it handles the kind of surface streets there. So hopefully should be a good mix. I actually haven't tried this yet, so this is going to be a very raw kind of first reaction video. You can see here the roads are actually really snowy, and one of the problems last year was that there was no difference between the way FSD would drive on the snow and in real life. So I mean, you can see here I'm going to just try to spin like a little bit. Like the car like definitely will slide here if you're not careful. And last year it was just awful. So one of the things I've noticed on the latest version, or on the previous version, it actually significantly changes driving behavior on snowy roads like this to prevent that kind of fishtailing. I had an incident, I think it was last year, might have been 2 years ago, where I just tried to let it go on a spot where it was actually like safe to spin out a little bit. Yeah, so that was maybe slightly too fast, slight kind of fishtail at the end, but not terrible. But in a previous version of this, it just would not make any changes whatsoever for snowy roads like this. And so it accelerated pretty aggressively into a left turn and then just like spun out in a pretty like terrible manner. Didn't like flip the car around or anything. I just took over kind of as it was turning, because I could tell it was just putting way too much power into the wheels. And so they've definitely made some changes to their training to adjust for the braking and the acceleration on snowy roads. And I've been really surprised at how well it's handled even much worse roads than what we just drove on right there. So pulling out here, that was not a particularly hard turn. I'm guessing should be fairly uneventful for a little bit here. This is a pretty easy road for FSD to drive on. But hopefully when we get into the highway, I'm hoping to see some improved behavior, improved kind of latency with the decision making. One of the things that has been an issue for years is just the merging onto the highway. It waits way too long to kind of merge, and it's like, oh, the lane is ending, I better get over right now, and it's just a little too late. Alright, so slightly close to the left side, I think there. Okay, so we've got this new language here. They've changed the max speed. I hadn't noticed that before, so I just changed the max speed with that. I'm not sure that I like that or not. So we got our first blinking yellow here. We'll see if there's any slowdown. No, not at all, and that's good to see. That's been pretty hit or miss in the past, but good to see there was zero hesitation there. So now it's slowing down. I'd set it up to 59 and it changed. It says standard there for some reason. We're now, I set it to 4 above the speed limit. We're now going 2 under. So that's a little annoying. I'll just let it do its thing. Got another blinking yellow coming up. See if there's any hesitation. Nope, and again, that was good. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come. Yeah, the speed thing is a little odd though. I don't know why it would be going so slow. It's not that there's any cars we need to be concerned about. The roads aren't icy or slick right here, so there really should be no reason to be not going at least the speed limit, and actually preferably to the limit that I'd set. So now we're turning onto the on-ramp, essentially, to the highway. That was a great turn, felt very natural. I couldn't have improved on that if I tried. This ramp's got the speed limit set to 55, but it's just going to merge right into the highway. And another one of the issues we've had in the past is the kind of normal human behavior for this is to start speeding up as you get to the point where you're merging on. So maybe you're going 65, 70, 75, something like that by the time you actually do merge with the highway. A lot of times on on-ramps, it hasn't been doing that. It's been kind of staying at the 55. So we can see here it's actually changed to 70, and we are starting to speed up, so I'm liking this behavior so far. Hello, cows. A little bit here. All right, so this is very good, very natural so far. We have a guy right here on our left who just got over for us. Car catches that. He's got the blinker on. Oh, and look how early this merges. Okay, that is very nice, very improved behavior. That was a very kind of narrow path we had to merge onto the highway. And in most previous versions I've had, it would actually just kind of wait till the last possible second. But that was extremely natural, extremely human-like. So again, we've got this change in behavior here. I wonder, okay, so I'm gonna set it to, let's go 77 max, and just see how this behaves on here. So if it were me, I'd be speeding up a little bit more right now. I mean, I set it to 77. We're still going 2 under again, so I don't love that. So there's change. I'm going to change it to hurry mode. We'll see what that does. And again, okay, so hurry mode already a lot more natural. So I would imagine that that's going to be my preferred route, or my preferred setting going forward. Not exceeding the limit that I set, so very nice. And this is certainly not the most challenging of highway drives. Pretty clear roads, not a whole lot of traffic. So this will just be a kind of overall reaction video as opposed to any sort of crazy stress test, but we'll get some hopefully more interesting scenarios as we get into Ann Arbor and see what it's like on the city streets. But certainly I can definitely tell an improvement already just with the way that on-ramp and the merge happened. So this splits to another highway here, so we're going to have to get over this lane that we're in ends, and then this left lane is the one that actually merges over into the rest of the highway. So we'll see how it handles that. If I were driving right now, I would get over. You can see this car ahead of us got over kind of in anticipation of this right lane ending. We've got a car that's going a little fast in the left side, so if we don't handle this right, we could get in a slightly awkward situation, but let's just see how FSD handles this. Yeah, so it waited until the lane actually did end. So these 2 lanes became one right here, and we're merging. Not perfect, but it was certainly not a problem in this situation. Or maybe I should say not perfect. It was not the way that I would have handled that. I would have merged earlier. But it certainly didn't create any sort of issues. Some phantom braking here. That's a little odd. Oh, it changed it to 60. That's odd. It changed the speed limit to 60 for no reason. The speed limit is not 60 here. So that's odd. I'm tapping the accelerator now to get us back up. And for some reason it still thinks the speed limit is 60. That's very odd. And it won't actually let me... Okay, now it is letting me change the speed limit. So let's keep it at 77. That's weird. I wonder if that's a map issue, I would guess. So I think up here it actually does change to the 60 mile an hour limit. And the way the highway kind of curves around Ann Arbor, there's a lot of traffic merging on and merging off. So it does make sense to be lower speed in this portion that we're just getting into, but back there where it changed to 60, it was definitely not ideal to decelerate like that. So here again is another kind of highway merging opportunity where we have to merge back over to the right. There's enough space, but it can be a little tight if you wait too long, so I'll be interested to see how FSD handles this. Not any traffic. There is some traffic coming the other way that's going a little faster, but the cars there merged to the right lanes to leave us some space. So blinker on right away, getting over right away, very natural, very human-like. That was great. So now we do have to get over in the next half mile. FSD is doing that right now. That's perfect while we have this space. So yeah, that was great right there. That was very natural kind of slowing. So the traffic went from pretty high speed to 48, looks like we're going now, and it captured that. A lot of the times humans in this situation, they're used to going really fast. Traffic slows down a little bit more than I was frankly expecting, and so the human tendency can be to get closer to the car in front of you, and so it was really nice to see FSD handle that slowing down in a more safe manner than honestly I probably would have. So here we've got an exit, 30 mile an hour, although we're going to be limited just all the cars in front of us. Very good so far. Yeah, chooses the correct lane from the very beginning once it's split. That's another good thing, because otherwise you can get stuck trying to merge back over. And that was certainly behavior I saw in older versions of FSD, where as you're getting off, it might not know which lane it's supposed to be in, and then chooses one and then has to kind of accelerated when it should not have there. So it was braking a little bit more than I was comfortable with. So you can see ahead we've got a huge line of traffic. It presumed we were going to be going a little bit faster, and I think for that reason accelerated, but that was not the right choice. Handled it fine in terms of, braked without any, safety risk or anything like that, but it was just slightly uncomfortable. Although, honestly, something humans would probably do in a similar situation. Yeah, so that was odd. So it merged over to kind of get away from the traffic. I think now it's realizing we need to actually turn left in 0.6 miles, and so it's getting back over here into this lane. So that was just weird. All right, now it's accelerating. Don't love that.
Car.
Whoa, okay.
Oh, that's
okay, so
why.
there's an accident. I had to take over there. That was really not ideal behavior, the way that it was accelerating to a car that was completely parked. So we do have this accident. I wonder, I'll just, no, I'm gonna take over here. Oops, just until we get past the accident. But yeah, I would not give FSD a good grade with the way that it handled this accident. Oh man, this was a serious accident. We got airbags.
Whoa, totally crumbled.
That was a serious accident. Okay. Wow, don't see that every day. All right, so now we're gonna go back on, auto steer temporarily unavailable. Ah, okay. You made a mistake and now you're just not letting it go back on. That was interesting. Left door pillar blocked or blinded, so it's no issue necessarily with the way that I took over or anything like that. All right, well let's we'll pull over here for a second. We'll clean that camera and get that going again. Okay, so we can actually see here there's some condensation underneath the glass here, so that's why the door pillar camera was being blinded. So I actually can't do anything. I was just going to go and clean off presumably some salt that was on here, but that's actually an issue that I can't solve, so that's a little unfortunate. I'll go ahead and clean the other cameras off, and we'll see if maybe we can get FSD to get going again. We are I just cleaned off all the cameras. There was some condensation inside the glass of that left door pillar camera, so possibility we might not be able to continue, but right now it's letting us go. We have a somewhat tricky left turn here coming out of this parking lot. Traffic's going pretty fast the other direction. It's pretty clear now, but you need to edge out a bit. So this is certainly awkward behavior that it's doing right now. It had plenty of time to go. It should just go.
It's taking forever.
And now it missed its opportunity because traffic's coming the other way. So if I were on my own, I definitely would have accelerator tapped that just to get it going, because that was annoying and we had the space, but now I'll let it go. It's got another opportunity if it goes aggressively right now. And it went a little too timidly, given the fact that there was that car right there. Probably had to slow down for us slightly, but it did safely get us out there, and so that worked, but maybe wasn't great or perfect from a perspective. Now it's wanting me to do, okay, attention monitoring unavailable. We're having all sorts of issues. Wow, this is rough. So the attention monitoring, now that's back on, but I had to do the actual force on the steering wheel to get that back up. So cameras are deciding they don't want to work right now for some reason. All right, so here we are, 25. So I can probably change this in the settings, but we're going exactly the speed limit as opposed to a few over, which would be my default tendency. That was the way that I did have it set before. So I probably do need to, okay, wow.
Confused by the bike lane.
Yeah, so there's a bike lane over here, or a bus lane, I think it is. Oh my gosh.
There's no
stop sign here. You don't need to be stopping. That was really weird. So it's really confused right now. This is not that confusing of a situation. Okay, it's trying to pull over.
It's trying to figure out where the road is.
This is very bad.
We're on it.
All right, this is Tesla telling me you need to update your peasant mobile and get a hardware 4 vehicle.
That's exactly right.
I mean, we're going 9 miles an hour in a 25-mile-an-hour zone. Not that complicated. There's a little bit of snow. There's some parked cars, but like this is
too slow.
This is painful. If there were cars behind me.
Oh, it's just parking because it's Zinger. Or
no, we're like 3 stop signs away. We're not.
No, we're not. Yeah, you're right.
It wasn't looking to park. This is just horrible behavior, to be honest with you.
Yeah, this is pretty bad.
I am not impressed. All right, so we're at an actual stop sign. We are pulled way too far back to actually see if it's clear with the cross traffic. So inching forward. If we did have cars behind us, they would be honking their horns because this is just
terrible.
Like, I look like I'm either extremely old and incapable of driving or possibly drunk with how bad this is right now.
Well, or high, which would fit.
Or high, which it would fit. We are in the middle of Ann Arbor.
420 though.
Okay.
We're just not gonna go.
Let's go. There's zero reason to be hesitating. At least pull out a little bit. I mean, this is bad.
It's just completely stopped.
Okay, now there's cars coming, so it's finally not exactly safe to go.
This is bad.
Yeah.
Bad car.
All right, so good to go now. Still inching forward for no reason. I mean, this is really, really bad behavior. I mean, this is reminding me of like version 11 kind of behavior in terms of a significant regression from the way that it used to behave.
That was terrible.
Right, so now we're getting over.
We're not sure.
You know, it's wanting to stay in this lane, but you kind of have to be over the line because of the fact that those parked cars were right there. So it just didn't handle that perfectly naturally. All right, so now we're turning left.
Oh, it's right there.
And that was fine.
All right, park right here.
And now we'll see what it does. We'll just let it go. I mean, it would have been great to park right there, but let's just see what it does here. Pedestrians crossing. We got a lady putting on a jacket right there. Okay. Oh my gosh, this is awful.
Yep.
Okay, we need to go. All right, I'm taking over. That was really, really bad. So,
no parking.
No parking. Nope. All right, we're not allowed to park right there. I'm not gonna blame FSD for that because, okay, I am taking control. Car, I literally took control because you were doing such a bad job, and I didn't want to hit those pedestrians, and then you yelled at me to take over immediately. So wow, I was pretty impressed with the highway portion, but man, once we got into Ann Arbor and we had that car that was in the accident and it was accelerating towards that parked car, that was really bad. I don't think it was necessarily a safety critical intervention. I'm sure it would have stopped had I not taken over, but just really suboptimal behavior that it was engaging in. And then from there, I mean, it was just pretty awful. So we'll leave it there for now. We'll go find a spot, grab the sandwich, and maybe we'll try again on our way back. Just turned us on here. Doesn't want to go. So we had a pretty rough ride out here to Ann Arbor, to be honest with you. Oh my gosh.
And we're currently having a rough ride
currently
again.
Continuing to have a rough ride, but actually, that's okay-ish. It just needs to actually go. And
Okay.
So the steering wheel jitter, one of my biggest complaints with the version 11 and to a lesser extent version 12 kind of series of updates. So disappointing to see this in the 12.6 upgrade, which is supposed to be a lot more hardware 3-like. So so far, a couple areas of improvement, but if I had to grade it at the moment, I would say it's a regression. So this is a bit of a tricky turn, very tight left turn with traffic going somewhat quick across, and it's partially obstructed by this truck here. Doing a pretty good job of edging out. It's not safe to go yet. And as a human, this is a pretty complicated maneuver. And now I actually kind of lost the angle that I had where I could see the cars. If I tilt back, I can actually still see. So after this last truck, it's looking to me like it's actually safe to go right here. It should go. Hey! All right, that was impressive.
Finally.
All right. This is actually kind of confusing. I don't come this way very often, so I think it actually got this
This is right.
the right way.
Yeah.
I know I've actually taken this turn the wrong way before when I was navigating on my own. So that's a bit of an improvement from the way that I normally work. So again, a somewhat tight left turn, shouldn't be too complicated. But let's just see. It needs to pull up a fair amount just to make sure it's clear on the left. It's stopping at the stop sign, or as I would have just pulled forward a little further from the outset. That is one of the behaviors that's just a little frustrating. When you can tell you have to pull out past a stop sign. Completely clear now. It should definitely be going. That car's turning left. It probably doesn't see the blinker. So I'll just wait here, see what it does. Yeah, so it really should be capable of interpreting that blinker, because he was blinking very far away, and even if it was going straight, there was enough room for the car to pull out and make that turn. So a bit too timid there. But yeah, back to the summary, pretty disappointing first result, although there were a few areas of stuff that was nice to see. But that jitter is the one that's, I don't want to say concerning, but it should have a lot more confidence in kind of the object detection and figuring out whether there actually is an issue. And so the fact that it's unsure of the path that it should be planning is a bit frustrating. So this is certainly pushing me along the path of wanting to upgrade the car. I think we're clear to turn here. So it's inching forward, it's clear. As a human, I would just go, and I'm just gonna tap it. Again, because we saw some jitter there. That was a bit unnecessary. All right, so now we'll see the highway. Highway was the biggest area of improvement on the way, on the first drive of this for sure, but we'll see. Got the nice Rivian delivery truck there. Woogie, woogie, woogie. I hadn't seen that one before. All right, so now here we're coming up to the area where we saw the accident on the way into town. You can see police are blocking off this lane on the left. I would probably be slowing down a bit. It's sticking at 45. I'm gonna try to let it go. Okay, now there's police walking. All right, I really want it to, all right, I'm gonna just take over because I don't want to get a ticket for driving too aggressively around those policemen. Would have loved to have give that a test, but it just was not slowing down. If it had started to slow down, I would have let it continue to handle that situation, because I don't think it would have actually hit them or done anything bad. But you just don't want to blow by a scene like that, and I wasn't completely confident that it wouldn't just blow by the police officers. All right, so now we're back onto merging on the highway. This was, I think, the biggest improvement so far. Let's see if it does that again. Hopefully it should merge left. There's space to do it right now, and yeah, it's doing it. So that was nice to see. Didn't keep going straight here in this lane that's ending and then merge over right now. It did it at a very natural time.
No.
Gosh. I did start to take over from the car there, but I will say it actually handled that situation perfectly. So it slammed on the brakes, and then because I don't know that it actually could have stopped in time, I wasn't sure if the left lane was clear or not. We don't need to be getting this left lane, so that's interesting. But it also got into the left lane because it was clear. So just to avoid any sort of mistake, I did take over as the car was turning into the left lane. But if I had let the car go, I'm actually pretty confident it would have handled that perfectly. That was the right reaction. That guy was completely in the wrong, should not have pulled out there. It was definitely not safe to do so. But I think the car reacted just as you would hope that it would. So that was a positive development for sure. So this lane ends. It's going to need to merge over here. Normally as a human, I'll get over a little bit earlier, but this is actually fine. Found a nice space and merged in without a problem. And then now we've got another merge to the left. So this is kind of a nice route in that we got a bunch of these different highway merges. So the car next to us, we either need to speed up or that car needs to get over. And we're speeding up a little bit, found a nice gap, and getting over. Very nice.
No.
And again, getting into this lane, which we need to get into eventually, but also the left lane is just going to be a bit faster. So I like how quickly it made that decision to get over. We did adjust the speed offset to be the recommended. I actually don't fully understand how that works yet, so might dig into that a little bit more later. But we basically just went with this recommended speed offset so that we don't have to continue increasing the speed every time the speed limit changes. So that seems to be working pretty naturally so far. So that's a better way to do it than the default setting when you get the software update. I'm gonna actually get off at this exit because there's a situation it hasn't necessarily handled the best in the past. So I want to see if that has made any improvement when we're getting off the highway over here. So let's try that out now and see if it'll make an improvement. So if it were me, I would get over. I mean, we're going 80 miles an hour. Okay, it heard me. So the thing I'm interested in is when we get off this highway, we turn left, and usually when you turn left, if it's clear to turn left, you would just assume that you keep going and like continue going down the road. Well, with this one particular intersection, there's actually another set of there's another traffic light essentially past the median where you turn left into. So the way it normally works coming out of here is you have to turn left in a decent spot so that people can get behind you, but you can't really continue past the traffic light. So it's really confused FSD a couple times, and I think there was one time actually in an earlier version of the software where it just wanted to keep going through the red light that was past the median. So interested to see how it handles this in the new version of the software. All right, so we've got a red light here. So normally what's going to happen is we've got the red light, it'll turn green, and then we're going to turn left. We'll follow this car that's up here. Okay, so it actually is getting left too early, going straight over the double yellow. No reason to do that, so that's a bit odd. But what we're going to do is just turn left. I kind of wish we didn't have a car in front of us because I'd be curious to see what it does without a car to follow. But we're basically just going to wait in this little median until the other light turns. So here, it's actually, yeah, not necessarily going to get to test this hypothesis. So if there wasn't a car in front, this might be a more interesting test. But so far I would say that's pretty good, although the courteous thing to do here, because there's not a whole lot of space for cars that want to turn left on this road, the humans will typically pack together pretty tightly so that there's more room. So you can actually see here this truck comes on my right. That's really normal. You can fit about 6 different cars in this little tiny space in between the 2 traffic lights. So the humans that are used to driving this route tend to do that. So not a big deal. I wouldn't actually expect FSD to do that. It's a very kind of unique situation to this particular light. All right, and we're going. This guy's letting us go first, so FSD handled that fine. And we're off. Slightly slower acceleration than I would have expected. But pretty good. Slow again. So speed limit here is 55. This is actually an area where FSD used to assume that the speed limit was like 30 or 40, I want to say. So it would just consistently drive too slow here. I'm going to just tap it a bit because it's kind of rude to be going 4 under, especially on, this is a road where people typically go around 60. So just to keep with that nice flow, tap it, and then now I've got my foot off the accelerator and it's maintaining that pace. So that is one of the improvements recently that I've liked, is if it's going too slow, you get it up to the speed and then it generally will maintain that speed. So again, we got the blinking yellow test coming up here. Passed that 2 out of 2 times on our way out to Ann Arbor. Let's see what happens this time. And we are slowing a little bit just because of that guy. That's perfectly natural. I don't think that's because of the blinking yellow. We're past him. I'd ideally like to see it speeding back up to 59. And it's 57:58. All right. So this guy behind us is really kind of on our tail. I'm gonna give it just a little extra juice. Comfortable that we're not being rude going this speed, nor unsafe. I'm gonna take over because we got some pretty hefty roadkill right here. FSD is not liking that, but I think the right thing to do there is to get on the other side. So I think we probably won't see much in the next 5 to 10 minutes on this particular road. Overall conclusion, a bit improved. Actually, I would say fairly significantly improved on the highway, although the highway wasn't too bad before to begin with. But the big story in my mind is how much of a regression that was on the city street driving, particularly with those situations in Ann Arbor that we saw. That was very, very bad. And generally my experiences when we first got version 12, for example, was that it was a noticeable improvement in how smooth and human-like and natural it was, just on all those types of decisions in city streets. This was anything but. I mean, it was honestly a lot more like the 11 stack that we had many years ago that was just so frustrating to use. So that was disappointing. I'm sure they're going to address that in future fixes, but certainly a disappointing overall result. And honestly, if I had to choose, I'd go back to the old version that I had. So those are my thoughts. Matt Smith, thanks for watching. You can check us out on rebellionaire.com. And I think my conclusion is I need to upgrade the car. So grab my referral link if you're interested in helping me support upgraded Model Y. Thanks for watching.